can't make it, or anybody wants to review the recording afterwards, then you'll be able to review it back. Lisa will be sending out an email out to everybody afterwards with the link to the recording on for people to watch. Morning, Olivier from Crowwood Leisure. Welcome. Okay, let's get started. My name is Paul Lind. I'm the Managing Director at ActionCOACH Bolton. We're a business coaching company. We're sort of hosting this through my Zoom account, but the reason we're having this webinar today, it's all down to Lisa Brady of Perfect Recruitment. Lisa wanted to see if we could give back to the hospitality and catering industry in some way. So welcome, Lisa.
Good morning everybody, and thank you very much for everybody for your time. I decided that I wanted to put something back to everybody that I supply staff to or have communication to with regularly, and talking to a lot of the small independents is quite clear that the information that you've all been getting through is not as clear as it could be. So I spoke to a few of my network partners and asked if they would get together, help, put some information together, and the key people that we've brought together for you, every one of them has got something brilliant that can bring to the table that you possibly haven't thought of, or that, you know, maybe I can go down that route. And this is going to be a really, really scary time for everybody reopening. Should they reopen in July? Should they leave it till September? And hopefully speaking to and working through with the panelists that we've got on board today, they'll be able to give you some insight of what's great for you, what's best for you, and how to be able to move this forward. Throughout the morning, they'll be gifting various offers for you, and each one will talk through that. And Perfect Recruitment will be able to look through your recruitment process and free of charge, just look at your processes and how you work and how you recruit. And if you want to contact us to be able to move that forward, we'll be able to help with that. As Paul said, I'll be sending out a mailer after this, and that'll have a little bit more information on everybody's gifts for you, and a little bit of a questionnaire to see what if you want to do another webinar, and if you want any other further information. So that's me from Perfect Recruitment, and I'll hand over to Paul. Thank you. And also, thank you to all panelists for joining. It's great that you've done this for us.
Thanks, Lisa. So we've got a number of presentations that we're going to go through. I'm going to go first. We've all got round about 10 minutes each, so we'll all probably be talking quite quick, so I think we've all got quite a lot of stuff to get through. So I'm going to share my screen now. What I'm also going to do is just mute all the other presenters, if that's all right with you guys. So you should all be muted now. Right, let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, brilliant. Can I just have a hands up from everybody that you can see this screen okay? Marvellous. Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Paul and I'm the Managing Director of ActionCOACH Bolton. We work with business owners across a wide variety of different sectors and industries to help them become better business owners so they can create better businesses and ultimately have the life that they want in business. You know, business should be about giving you more life, but we find far too much that business owners are giving their life to the business. So we try and redress that balance a little bit. Just now, right at the moment, we're trying to help as many different business owners as we can. And so far over the last 10 weeks, through gifted coaching sessions, through webinars and workshops that we've done for free, we've helped over 300 business owners so far to take some really positive steps moving forwards with the business. Now, what we've noticed over the last few weeks, obviously, that people have gone through a curve of despair and burying their head in the sand, first of all, and they've gone into survival mode, just buying as many toilet rolls as they can, and then it got on to buying as many webcams as they could. But right now, people, there's a more optimism now in the marketplace. You know, it's more challenging for some industries than others, and obviously hospitality is one of those industries. But we're now starting to look at businesses on the upward curve, looking at what they need to do to start moving forwards with the businesses. So this presentation is one that we've put together for some of our clients and prospects to help them with that. We're not going to get through the whole presentation, but we're going to get through as much of it as we can in 10 minutes. I'm going to talk really quick. And hopefully it's going to give you some ideas about some of the things that you need to put in place for when you are looking to reopen your business. So first of all, what are some of the things that you need to do? Well, you need to think about your own rules of the game. Common sense, of course, is paramount. Think about all the health and safety issues that you've got. The screening that you need to put in place. We've got some clients who are looking at putting locks on doors and doorbells on doors that they didn't have before, so they can limit the number of people who are walking into certain areas. They're putting arrows down on the floor so they can guide people through different areas. You'll have seen it if you've been into any retail environments that have reopened, or any of the supermarkets. They've all got new sort of distancing measures in place. But think about what you need to do for your particular business. The important part of this is that people who are coming into your business, your prospects and clients, must be able to see and feel that there's a difference in how you're doing things, that you've made some changes, and that health and safety is absolutely paramount for you. The second thing that you need to think about is your team, and communication is absolutely key with your team. They're bringing your team back in. You've got to give them the confidence that they're going to be safe. First of all, they're going to have some issues of their own. They might have issues around childcare, around other people within their family who might be vulnerable. So it's about giving them a sense of community, but communicating really clearly about what your standards and protocols are. You've got to understand that productivity may take time to increase again. Everybody's new again. It's like having a whole new set of employees. You've got new procedures, new standards that everybody's got to adhere to. So you've got to try and give them some confidence in doing that. And the key to that is really clear and open communication as often as you possibly can. I think the team is key in any business. Build a great team, they can run your business for you. Communication with your team is absolutely vital in times like this. When we come on to marketing is really key for your clients and for your prospects. Think about what deals you can do for your prospects and for your existing clients. Think about the 80-20 rule. The top 20% of your customers provide you with 80% of your business. So what can you do differently for those clients that you had before and that you want to bring back into your business? How can you make them feel really, really special? Think about your different target markets as well. What can you do for each of those specific target markets? Make sure that you're looking at deals specifically for those markets. Think about the people who first start to return to your business, whatever kind of business you're in. The first people who walk through the door are the ones that you want to make feel really special. So what can you do differently for them? And make sure that you're putting some things in place for those people who haven't tried you before. What kind of things can you do to attract new people in through your door? So think about all the different kinds of deals that you can make for those kind of people. Make sure you make a big deal out of your reopening. Start to build up the excitement now for when you reopen. You should be talking to everybody now about when you're going to reopen. Announce every single step. Announce everything that you're putting in place from a health and safety aspect. Every single deal that you're going to do for people, make sure you announce that. Put your dates in, so when you're first going to reopen, what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Make sure that you're marketing now 2, 3, 4 times as much as you were doing before, but make sure you're doing it with empathy and with gratitude and with abundance towards your prospects and your clients. And celebrate every single part of your reopening process. Have a ribbon cutting for when you reopen. Celebrate the fact that you're surviving. Celebrate with your team. It's really important. Celebrate your team. Start putting pictures on social media of your team members coming back into work and what you're doing. Celebrate your customers coming back into the business. Your top customers are going to love the fact that you're saying, we love you. Let's put you on, let's put you out there with us. So make it memorable, make it newsworthy, it's got to be great PR. The media are crying out for great PR at the moment, instead of all the negativity that's been around. It's got to be positive. Most importantly, rerun your numbers. Make sure that you know every single number in your business right now. Every decision has got to be based around numbers. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So you should be looking at your numbers more often across every single aspect of your business, particularly financials. Every decision that you make right now is either going to make you money or it's going to cost you money. Look at where your break-even point is. Look at where your profit break-even point is. So if you want to make a profit, look at where that point is. There's still government money out there to be had, so make sure you're using that wisely. And yes, you need to keep a little bit more cash on hand if you can do just at the moment. Marketing and sales is more important than ever. It's got to be help and education more than just features and benefits to your products. Remember that people are still feeling worried. There's a little bit of fear around. It might take more steps to get people in, in terms of the number of touch points you need with prospects. That might be extended now. Video is becoming more and more apparent now in marketing, and the more you can do, the better. Make sure that all your marketing is customer centric, that it's got some empathy towards your marketplace. And most importantly, make sure you've got a great customer database. Your database is gold dust right now. So if you've got a good customer database and you are building those relationships, that's really, really crucial just right now. Make sure you remember to thank everybody, your customers, your team, all your suppliers, your wider network. A little handwritten note to members of your team or to customers goes a long, long way. We do that in our business. We send out little handwritten notes from time to time. Makes an amazing amount of difference. Loads of great stuff on there. And then just make sure that you're planning your restart up well. So we've gone through that survival mode, and now people are on the starting blocks. What we want to make sure you're doing is that you're ready to sprint and race ahead in your business. And you've got some choices to make. Are you going to be one of those businesses that's racing ahead? You're going to have a really buoyant trading period moving out of this compared to your competitors. Or is it going to be tough trading for you because you're maybe not making the right choice and you're not doing the marketing at the right time? Or are you going to be one of those businesses that sits and waits to see what everybody else is doing and struggles in your business and ends up at the bottom of that graph? That's up to you. You're either going to be a winner, you're going to be a whinger and be Mr. Negativity, or you're going to be a watcher and you're going to sit and wait to see what everybody else does. We want winners in the hospitality and catering industry, and I hope you're one of those. If anybody does want to speak further to me, then please feel free to give us a call, or just look at the website, ActionCOACH Bolton. You'll find us through Google, or email us on bolton@actioncoach.com. We're gifting a coaching session to anybody right now who wants one. We've got some free webinars coming up, and as a special offer on this particular webinar, we've got a 90-day planning session coming up towards the end of June. Anybody who wants to join us on that is able to do so absolutely free of charge. It's normally £295. That's me done. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to hand over now to Hayley. Hayley is with Progeny, formerly Halo HR. Is that right, Hayley? Let's just unmute you. Can you unmute yourself, Hayley?
Yes, I'm muting myself. Yes, that's right. Formerly Halo HR, but now we are just over the past couple of weeks integrated into Progeny Wealth. Yes.
Welcome. I'll leave it
Thank
with
you very much. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So, yes, my name's Hayley Curry and I join you from Progeny HR Consultancy and Advice. And we do exactly that. So we provide a fully outsourced HR experience for our clients on either a pay-as-you-go, project or retainer basis. And I'm here to talk to you today about 3 topics that we've been talking to our clients about recently, and answering the questions: what do the new furlough leave updates mean for your business that were announced last week? What can you do if employees don't feel ready to return to work? And is it possible to make redundancies during furlough? I only have 10 minutes today, but if any of you would like a follow-up call, I'd be delighted to do so, free of charge, and I'll add my contact details at the end. So the furlough scheme has been a lifesaver for many, taking the initial pressure off businesses dealing with the downturn of work, whilst protecting a large proportion of an employee's income. Many businesses, however, who have taken advantage of the scheme have found that it's too restrictive and in some cases is acting as a hindrance in supporting a return to the workplace. There are several reasons for this. Number one, staff have to be furloughed for at least 3 weeks at a time. They're not allowed to undertake any work. And the 20% pay reduction is not significant enough for those on furlough leave to want to risk their health and return to work if there's an opportunity to remain at home and receive 80%. These restrictions have left many business owners scratching their heads when they're considering how to recover from the pandemic and try to resume some level of normality. Because the R number has reduced significantly, the government would now like to encourage businesses to reopen and encourage employees back to work. So on the 29th of May, they announced some key changes, and I'll attempt to interpret some of the highlights for you. It's important to note that the scheme will close to new entrants from the 30th of June. So this means that the final date that you can furlough an employee for the first time will be the 10th of June. That's in order to allow the 3-week furlough period to be completed by the end of this month. From July 2020, 1st of July, you'll have the flexibility, however, to bring previously furloughed employees back to work part-time, with the government continuing to pay 80% of wages for any normal hours that they don't work up to the end of August. This flexibility comes a month earlier than previously announced to help people get back to work. So what that means is you can decide the hours and shift patterns that your employees will work on their return, and you'll be responsible for paying their wages in full for the hours that they work. This means that employees can work as much or as little as your business needs. There's no minimum time that you have to furlough staff for anymore. Any working hours arrangements that you agree with your employee must cover at least 1 week and be confirmed to the employee in writing. When you're claiming the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme grant for furloughed hours, you will need to report and claim for a minimum period of a week. You can choose to make claims for longer periods though, such as on a monthly or 2 weekly cycles if you prefer, but you will be required to submit data on the usual hours an employee would be expected to work in any claim period and the actual hours worked. So if your employee is unable to return to work or you don't have work for them to do, they can remain on furlough and you can continue to claim the grant for their full hours under the existing rules. There have been some changes announced, however, to the employee contributions. So from August, the government grant provided that the job retention scheme will be slowly tapered. In June and July, the government will pay 80% of wages, and that will continue up until the cap, as well as employer national insurance and pension contributions for the hours that the employee doesn't work. Employers will have to pay employees for the hours they do work. In August, however, the government will continue to pay 80% of wages up to the cap, but you as business owners will be expected to pick up the tab for the employer national insurance contributions and pension contributions. They estimate that for the average claim, this represents about 5% of the gross employment costs that you would have incurred if the employee had not been furloughed. So in September, it reduces again. So the government will pay 70% this time, up to a cap, and you'll be expected to pay the national insurance contributions, the pension, plus 10% wages for the time that they work. In October, it reduces further. The government will pay 60% of wages up to a new cap, and employees are expected to pay the rest. The cap on the furlough grant will be proportional, it's important to note, to the hours that have been worked. If you're a smaller employer, some or all of your employee national insurance contribution bills will be covered by employment allowance, so you shouldn't be significantly impacted by that part of the tapering. The ability to bring back staff on reduced hours, though, while still receiving some government support, has generally been welcomed by employers, as it means owners can get the help they need to implement measures into their premises in order to get ready for this new world. With the Prime Minister being optimistic about reopening hospitality and catering outlets from the 4th of July, what can you do if your staff don't want to return to work? Well, they may not want to return for many reasons, not least because they don't feel safe to do so. It's important that you follow all government guidance, therefore, in terms of social distancing, etc., but also to conduct COVID-19 specific risk assessments. You can find more information on this, as well as example templates, on the HSE website. It's important to deal with staff concerns on an individual basis, as everyone's situation outside of work is different. It can be a good idea, therefore, to hold a workplace conversation with your employees and document this. So areas to explore are whether they have any caring commitments that have been affected by COVID-19. Do they have any underlying health conditions which require additional support in the workplace? How do they travel to work? Are they using public transport? Do they need a parking space? Are they familiar with the new health and safety procedures in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19, including changes that you may make, as Paul said, to exit one-way systems and PPE, etc.? And how much annual leave have they left to take, and what are the arrangements for taking this on their return? As an employer, you are expected to provide work for your staff in a safe environment. If you're able to demonstrate, therefore, that you have followed the guidance and you've taken individuals' concerns into account and helped where possible to reduce the risk, and your staff members still refuse to work, then you may have grounds to follow your disciplinary or AWOL procedures. I would always seek advice from a HR or legal professional, however, as if you do, often they can provide tribunal indemnity insurance, which means that you are protected if you follow their advice and your staff file a claim against you at a tribunal. But what if the downturn in work means that you have to make some tough decisions around your future workforce? Can you make redundancies during furlough? Well, the short answer is yes. Despite the Prime Minister commenting that this wasn't the original intention of the scheme, unfortunately, many businesses are only just realising the long-term impact that closing their business has caused. And therefore, it is both legal and necessary for businesses to consider redundancies for their future survival. ACAS offers lots of guides on the process that must be followed in order to, in redundancy situations. However, there are many variants to consider, such as whether the numbers of affected employees means that you have to collectively consult, as well as with individuals. Whether roles are standalone or could be the same or similar roles, and therefore a selection process is required, and navigating through a virtual consultation process, while many are either furloughed or working remotely currently. It's vital to spend some time at the planning stage to carefully map out your business justification, what alternatives have been considered or implemented before reaching the decision to place roles at risk, and obviously the costs involved. There's also the consideration that furlough is an alternative to redundancy, and one that we haven't had in our working lives. So you need to be prepared for that pushback from your employees. Following a consultation period, it is possible to give notice to terminate contracts of employment whilst your employees are on furlough. However, we would recommend that you top up their pay to 100% to ensure that you don't get claims for unlawful deduction of wages. Also, if your contracts allow, you may be able to request that they can take any accrued holidays during their notice period too, saving you an additional cost. If you can't do that contractually, then you can enforce holidays, as long as you provide at least twice as much notice as the amount of days you are enforcing. So for example, if you wanted them to take 5 days holiday, you'd have to give at least 10 days notice. And that's it. I only had 10 minutes, so I only wanted to cover those brief topics, but I am available. We're going to offer you a 1-hour telephone conversation on any HR topic. It doesn't have to be for something that we've spoken about today. And from that, we will give you some bespoke guidance tailored to your circumstances. In addition, if you need a redundancy policy or indeed want to implement a return to the workplace conversation, we can provide you templates. And also we can add you to our regular newsletter that keeps you updated on people-related topics and employment law issues. So please feel free to take down my contact details there or connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hayley. It can be an absolute minefield, HR at the moment. There's so many different intricacies in the rules and in furlough particularly. So it's really important to get some professional advice. We get professional advice now, all our clients do. And it can be really, really useful, really useful. Thank you so much.
Great.
We're going to move on to an absolutely amazing photographer now. Liz Hall from Liz Henson Photography has done some work for us personally in our business. And I've seen some of the other work she does. She's absolutely amazing. And Liz is going to share some thoughts with you now. So Liz, would you like to start sharing your screen? And it's over to you.
Oh, I can't find it. Hang on. Next Zoom. Green share. Got it. Good morning, everybody. I'm Liz from Liz Henson Photography. I'm going to have a look at how professional photography can help within the hospitality and leisure industry post-lockdown. And now's an ideal time to be capturing these images, ready for when the openings allow, whether that's 4th of July or any time onward afterwards. So firstly, a little bit about me. I've been as creative as long as I can remember. Followed that up with GCSE and A-level art, and after that I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to be creative, so I went to Manchester Met and did my art foundation course, and then went to Blackpool and Fylde College following picking up the photography element in the art foundation course. And that's 14 years ago now since I graduated, so 14 years in the industry experience, from a mixture of commercial studios all the way through to running my own business for the past, I can't remember, years. But yes, that's me. So bed and breakfasts, hotels and short-term rented properties can increase their chances of booking by 225% just by including one or more photos when they're listed on travel booking sites. After price, photography is the most important factor for travellers and prospective customers scanning sites. Photography plays a role of 60% in the decision to book with a particular hotel. So a good key image of the venue will often stop a person scrolling through and entice them in. How many times have you been searching yourself for a vacation or a stay away? Most you've been scrolling through, you see that fantastic image and you stop and you carry on then and look into the hotel or the venue and you're enticed in. Hotels on booking websites with high quality photos have a 63% higher click-through rate than those that don't. Up to 53% of TripAdvisor users won't book a hotel without photos. According to a study by HRS.com and eResult, 78% of people find photos to be the most important factor when making their hotel choices. So that's some of the statistics to back up what I said on the last slide. So across all marketing platforms, images need to visually describe what guests are about to pay for, whilst also conveying the overall experience of their visit. So why is this important? An authentic hotel experience is a sensory affair, and high quality, relevant images can help connect with potential bookers. This gives them the chance to visualise themselves having the experience communicated through the images. As such, it means that images cannot be wildly fascinated or unrealistic, but they have to be authentic and tell the true experience of what's going on. So what kind of impression are you making with your leads and customers? Does your photography encourage them to book immediately, or does it leave them second guessing what your initial impressions might be? So things to have a look at when you're considering photography for venues. guest rooms, keeping it simple, keeping them crisp and clean. Show any recent upgrades. Works might be ongoing in the background during lockdown. Now's the ideal opportunity to showcase that. If you put extra safety measures in place, again, that might reassure people. Then they can see what you're doing and they know that their experience with coming to you will be safe and secure. The little details can also count, such as your fixtures and fittings, so as well as showcasing luxury rooms or suites. You could go one step further here and include nods to the guests being there, with hints such as like an overnight bag. That'll help the potential guests again visualise themselves visiting and aid in the visual description for them. Other places to look at are your restaurants and dining areas. Full service hotels should make a point of looking to highlight these facilities. They're often popular hotspots with locals as well as travellers. Many guests appreciate the added convenience of somewhere to eat on site and more options if they are available. Amenities, these might be a pool, spa area, parking, saunas, whatever you've got that's a unique offer from your place. Make sure there's photos of it in your photo gallery. Again, the more you can be visually descriptive here, the more you're conveying the overall experience to the guest. Again, if you've got meeting spaces, whether it's from huge conference halls through to small meeting rooms like this, should draw these attention to these facilities for your guests. You can, again, a lot of things are having to go online. Say wedding fairs are now going online. Event planners will be looking online. The images to show what they have to offer it is great. But I won't limit each room to one image. Consider where they're going to be used. If they're going to be used online, majority are web landscape images. Whereas if you're looking to produce print material, you need, for like say a magazine article or brochures, there need to be more portrait images. Also, not forgetting how image hungry social media is. You can never have enough images different to differentiate yourself from others. Already today, about 57% of all reservations in the sphere of travelling is made online. And I can only imagine this is going to increase now. Half of the other online booking operations are from mobile sources as well. So the images need to be eye-catching on a small screen to grab potential guests. In 2017, Travolution reported research that showed 40% of millennials, so that's travellers aged 18 to 33, so the choice of holiday is now dependent on how Instagrammable it is. Do you have any special places or backdrops which are the must-have photo from your stay? If so, are you engaging with people when they're sharing these on the social platforms? This then gives you true and invaluable reviews for your business. So what does your existing imagery say about your business? Does it showcase your amazing and unique offering, or does it seem tired and old? Have your customers seen the same thing over and over again? Is now the time for some brilliant new photography to go alongside your reopening? For a limited time, I'm offering a complimentary 40 minutes review of your marketing imagery. Also, what's the next step? You can either give me a call on that number or drop me an email and I'll be happy to carry on and the conversation. For this, I've got limited slots available, so please don't delay. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Liz. That was brilliant. Liz is a brilliant photographer. You're fairly new to presenting, aren't you? And that was amazing. Thank you so much for doing that for us, Liz. And what a great idea. You know, we talked before about your prospects and clients needing to see and to feel how safe they were going to be when they were coming into your premises. So what better way than having some photographs done, some great photographs done of the measures that you've taken in terms of social distancing to make sure they're all going to be safe. Thanks, Liz. We're going to move on now to the general manager of a fantastic hotel in Lancashire, the Samlesbury Hotel, and that's Mr. Daniel Rich. Welcome, Daniel. If you'd like to share your screen, unmute yourself because you're still muted at the moment. Welcome to the webinar.
Whoa, can we see that?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you 10 minutes really about your reopen plans and action plans of kind of what you're doing. And I have to say that the stuff I'm kind of sharing with you today is stuff that I've kind of had from other Zoom calls that I've done within the industry. And I think there's different people on the call today who are from different brands and from independent hotels or from different kind of things. So I've done it quite generically, and I just think we should just look at how we're reopening and what that's going to do. So, so there's a 6-point action kind of point on the screen about how you would reopen and what to look at. So number 1, agree in your COVID policy. And this is looking at the external messages that you have got. And that's both from a brand point of view, if you've got a brand, from a team point of view, and from a customer point of view. So whilst we talk today about the messages we're sending out about how we're protecting our team, so that while our team are on furlough, I mean, I'm doing welfare calls with my team, and they're asking questions about, you know, are we going to have to wear PPE, or is there going to be a screen on reception? So some of the things we've done is, you know, I'm in the hotel today, and we've taken photographs of some of the stuff we've done, whether it's stickers on the floor or whether it's, you know, stand here stickers, and just to kind of reassure the team to start with that we've got a plan and we're working towards that plan, as well as taking the brand information and saying that, you know, we're with our core, you know, and they've got an all safe policy, and are we taking on all the different bits of that? So from an external point of view, making sure that message is clear, and then starting to then look at our due diligence that then goes alongside that and how we make that happen. So for us, that's kind of point 1. Point 2 is then looking at how we review and adapt our operating plans. And I think we're looking at a 4-on, 4-off basis of a set team. So there's no cross-pollination of different members of staff to start with in the operations teams. And I think, you know, different ideas that then create them kind of sealed teams so that there's less, I'm working with Billy on Monday and Sarah on Tuesday, is one way of looking at it. And I think we've got 2 or 3 different ideas about how we would operate in that manner. So looking at operating plans, one of the things we're doing is looking at doing a half-day training day for every employee before they come back in the business, so that we can kind of show to them how to clean a table, how we're going to serve food, are we going to put it on the sideboard, are the guests going to collect it, and we're going to go through some kind of scenarios. How far should they be standing from a customer? Where do they put the item through the till? And have some real practical ways of doing that. And I think it's important to do that half-day training so that then the team understand when a customer comes in, how that's going to work. And they're not there kind of frozen on day 1 and go, how's this going to work? So, and I think that then looks at their menu development. So we're currently looking at menu development that if you end up only doing 10 covers of an evening, where we used to do 30 or 40, do we need items that can be a little bit out of the freezer and a little bit kind of to start with, less fresh produce, or produce that then can last from a stock basis? And I think that's really quite key. One of the things we've looked at is, you know, doing curries in tiffin tubs so that they are completely sealed, delivered on room service, and from a customer's point of view, they've got that element of actually, yeah, this is a sealed product. And even to the point where we've kind of looked at the tea and coffee making facilities in the room, and amenity packs in rooms. Are they sealed? Are customers going to be happy with that? You know, do the towels need to be in a bag? So are customers willing to reuse a toilet roll from the previous customer? Do we need waterproof covers on the pillows, for example, because people dribble and all this kind of stuff? So there's many different questions really to kind of look at, and I think it can be quite overwhelming when you kind of start to look at some of them questions. But for us, we've got some plans that, and I've got a plan I'm going to share with you in a minute, that will just kind of help to bring some of that and make it feel a bit simpler. And then looking at your fire risk assessment, someone said this to me in week 2, and I was like, oh, yeah, I suppose we do. And normally, when in a hotel, we would ask people to evacuate to one point, and then what if you reopen the hotel and you've got 60 people in the hotel? They're all standing in the same point. Are they going to be social distancing? So it may be as simple as saying, we have one floor in each bay on the car park, and we nominate a few bays in the car park so that people can spread out, and it makes it easier to count people. I did that in a hotel in Manchester. But it's really reviewing your fire risk assessment and looking at, you may be using doors or you may be using offices that you haven't been using before to spread people out. And, is there a dead leg? And it's just reviewing that fire risk assessment to make sure that your policies are covered in there, and you've got the social distancing and the right doors and everything else. And then from a general risk assessment point of view, on kind of point 4, I think one of the big things in here is about lone working. One of the things that we've looked at is of an evening, if you're only doing 10 or 15 covers, have you suddenly got a chef on their own? What happens if they fall over in the freezer, and how do we deal with that? Or if you've suddenly got one person on nights, the whole lone working policy, I think, is a change. But also, if you're bringing in new chemicals to whether it's sanitation or for cleaning tables, then have you got all the COACH? Are your team up to date with it? And now is a real perfect time to get staff training up to date. Someone HR-wise can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been told that while staff are on furlough, they are able to complete training. So I'm happy to be told otherwise. So we've offered our staff to do some online training for food hygiene, for allergens, for COACH. And we're quite lucky that our training provider has given us some COVID sessions. So from my point of view, when my team arrive back into the property, they'll have the half-day training session about how we will operate from an operating plan point of view. But we're saying that they can't come back unless they've completed their COVID training online. And I think that's really important, because from a due diligence point of view, if someone then comes in 2 weeks' time after open and says, well, I caught COVID because I got too close to someone, or because I was not following the rules, or you didn't show me how I should clear a table, we've got something as some documentation to say we've done as much as we can do to protect the employee and make them feel safe. We understand currently that we don't have all the answers right now, and I don't think anyone does. And each one of these Zoom calls and stuff I kind of go on, nobody's got all the answers. But it's about generating a plan so that we can then get to that point. Point 5, Legionella control. We've taken all the shower heads off in all our bedrooms here, and they're now in soak, ready to go into the chemical so that they can go back on. We're flushing outlets and doing stuff to keep the water system clean. Legionella can be a real problem in hotels that have been closed if the water isn't being flushed through. It's also then looking at things like, your heating and plumbing system. Is it being turned over? Are you keeping the maintenance on it? Also, things like fire alarm maintenance. I've asked the insurance company. They're not willing to accept the fact that you've got a 3-month gap in your fire alarm maintenance or your fire extinguisher maintenance, for example. So that stuff still needs to happen. And your kitchen deep cleaning of your extracts and all that kind of stuff. All of that stuff you need to have dated and ready so that they're not going to accept the fact that, well, we've been closed for 3 months and then there was an issue. So I think there's then quite a lot of stuff then to look through and have a look at. And then point 6, staff readiness. I've already kind of talked about it, but are they ready from a compliance point of view, health and safety, and just to make sure everyone's aware of their responsibilities. I think the other bit we could run the risk of is that then the staff who are still on furlough, not in the business, how do we stay in contact with them, and how do we kind of keep them engaged in the process of the fact the hotel is then open? So just one to think about. And then the other bit I've got for you is this Mitchells and Taylor opening plan. I've sent it to Lisa. She's going to send it out to everyone on the Zoom call afterwards. It's a 22-page document, which for independent hotels is great. And for branded hotels, I would say, look at this. And it kind of poses a question. So I've got 2 snapshots on the screen. So one is about breakfast. Breakfast is one of the ones that people are talking about quite a lot. And I think you could look at this Mitchells and Taylor plan and say, we'll minimise the risk of germs and touch screens, and do we have buffets and do we not? And I think you can have a look at this plan, and it just makes it a bit more concise, and it makes it feel less overwhelming. And everyone I talk to, hospitality-wise, is using this plan and then overlaying what the brand is saying with it. And I think the two documents side by side are a great way of going through the process one at a time and looking at the different areas of the business and making sure that we've got it covered. So, are we going to do grab bags for breakfast? And how also, on the right-hand side then, how are the team entering the property? Are we taking temperature check-in? What door do they use to come in? Where do they put their stuff when they're here? And how do we kind of maintain that for the team? So, and even to a point of, and one of the bits in the Mitchell and Taylor plan is, do we have an isolation room? There's a suggestion in there that, we should have one room that's taken off. And if someone becomes poorly within the team or a guest, we have a room that's got the right information in so that we can then say to a guest, all the information from 111 about COVID is in that room. We will send food up to you and we'll look after you until you're ready to depart. Or so again, I think it just poses a lot of questions. So the Mitchell and Taylor plan will be coming out. Lisa's going to share that with you. Happy to answer any questions, but haven't got all the answers. But if you've got any operational questions about how we're dealing with different things, I've worked in branded hotels and I've been in kind of hotels for 23, 24 years. So, whether it's independent or branded, I'm happy to answer questions. But I just think that's the 6-point plan at the top is a good way of kind of just reviewing stuff, looking at all your risks. And then the Mitchell plan is there about how you open and operate different parts of your business. Thank you very much.
Daniel, that was absolutely superb. Loads and loads of great points in there that many people won't have thought of just now. And your abundance in sharing that via Lisa is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that, Daniel. Much appreciated. Okay. If you have got any questions for any of the presenters today, then please put them either in the Q&A box or in the chat box. We'll try and answer as many as we can today if we get them. You will also get a link to a feedback form. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. It's really important to us. Before the end of the webinar, that goes into the chat box. If you can click on that link before you leave, so you've got that form open, it'll only take you a couple of minutes to fill in. You can complete that. It's also got all the details of the various presenters, so you can check the boxes for the different presenters to say if you want some more information from them and you'd like to speak to them as well. We're going to hand over now, if I'll just stop sharing Daniel's screen. We're going to hand over now to Alison from AJ Lakes. AJ Lakes is the UK's #1 hospitality consultancy business. And Alison's got some great information here to share with you. So Alison, it's over to you. You'd just like to...
Hello everybody and welcome. I'm going to, obviously only 10 minutes, but I'm going to give you a quick whistle stop tour with my version of the COVID-19 Business Survival web class, and I'll go through that with you. I have created a program that helps businesses to go through this, and I'll discuss that with you later. So, how to survive and thrive the COVID-19 lockdown and social distancing in the hospitality and tourism industry in 4 weeks or less. So who am I? I'm Alison Magee-Barker, and I am a hospitality consultant, coach and trainer, bringing over 30 years of hospitality experience, knowledge and skills, and running and managing businesses for 25 plus years to success. So in the last few years, I've started AJ Lakes Consultancy, and I bring clarity, focus, vision and drive, adding 100K onto businesses that I work with, bringing strategic approach and looking at with fresh eyes and immersing myself within businesses to take them forward. So, would you like your hospitality and tourism business to survive and thrive the COVID-19 lockdown? And would you like to survive and thrive the COVID-19 lockdown with a full, steady stream of clients through your doors immediately? So let me ask you, are you currently experiencing all your staff being on furlough, and you're most likely worrying whether your staff will be coming back, because let's face it, life as we knew it has dramatically changed. With COVID-19 lockdown, many people have taken the time out to reassess their jobs, their lives, and what they really, really want to do when post-COVID-19 lockdown arrives. So perhaps you're thinking about how you're going to be able to get your business back up and running quick enough to make sure enough revenue is coming in. Maybe you relied on client finder websites such as the Groupons, the Travelzoos, the Booking.coms, and you're left now in a place where you do not have the data, these companies, the intel to help you with your valuable insight into how to restart attracting your valuable clients. So possibly you might be itching to just get back to it as quickly as possible. And potentially the cost of having all your staff on furlough is really worrying you right now, as this is all an expense. You may not, you should have had your finances now, but you may be missing some. So maybe you are not sure whether you should bring everybody back post-COVID-19 lockdown. As we heard earlier with in HR, you might be thinking about making redundancies. And you're asking yourself the question, who do I bring back? What stage do I bring them back? Will the management be people be stepping in management roles? What is the process that you're looking at? So most likely your activity on creating and keeping awareness of your business on social media and engagement with people has come to a sudden standstill. Maybe you've been in the denial stage with the Kubler-Ross curve, and you're looking, you're no longer in the forefront of your existing clients' minds, let alone reaching out to any prospective new clients. And most likely this inactivity throughout COVID-19 lockdown has pushed you down the ranks in social media algorithms, which determine now what your organic reach is out to people when post-COVID-19 lockdown. So maybe you want to adapt to bring in some revenue now during the uncertainty of the COVID-19 lockdown and the gap in experience or skill set of how to implement this at minimal investment with maximum return feels overwhelming. Potentially you're questioning whether the hospitality business is the right business for you, the right career for you, or perhaps you want to step back from the business and have a team to run it for you, put a strategy in place, an exit strategy in place to help you to have some time out and let your team manage the business. And you don't know how to efficiently and effectively go about doing this. Perhaps you started 2020 out with this being your year to shine and thrive. Maybe you've just spent thousands or millions of pounds on a refurbishment, and you were in a position financially, emotionally and physically to shine this year, but you've had the rug pulled from underneath you and you're feeling out of control and seeing all your goals and objectives delayed or maybe slipping away. So imagine what it feels like to be thriving with a steady stream of clients as soon as the COVID-19 lockdown is over. Or maybe that your restaurant, your hotel is always at the forefront of your existing clients' minds, and they're ready to make repeat or new bookings with you every time, direct. Perhaps you want to be able to move away from the increase in cost and have control over all your cash, a valuable insight into and control over all your expenditure and the outcome of your business, and be the business that is increasing your profits in a time of economic decline. Or maybe have a clear idea strategy that enables you to maintain focus on what you need to be doing right now to successfully and thrive reopening. And have a clear idea strategy with a fast-track view on how to implement this to make sure you survive and thrive and be the first out the gate to thrive from COVID-19 lockdown. So potentially you want to be the business whose clients talk about and give you the best recommendation there is, word of mouth, for your excellent customer service experience. And you have an excellent intercommunication channels between all your team members, your managers, clients and owner. imagine perhaps you're the business who has a fully trained and effective team who you can trust to run the business for you whilst you step back from the business and enjoy more time with your family and friends. Or maybe you want to do something different that you've always wanted to do, or maybe take a long break somewhere when you can. Maybe you want to be able to transform to the next level. Imagine being in a position now that you can be serving different clientele and trying out new products and services, all in the same knowledge that you now have the knowledge and expertise to keep the risk to you low and the profits maximized. So would you agree with me that to get from where you currently are to where you want to be, you need something like a bridge that connects the gap? So let's talk about you and how you can survive and thrive COVID-19 lockdown with a fully steady stream of clients through your door immediately. So I have discovered there are just 5 areas that you need to know to survive and thrive in the hospitality and tourism industry in a time of economic crisis or decline. Having managed and having led the sales and marketing winter campaign for the Lake District Hotels Association of 44 hoteliers and 15 attractions in 2016, a year after Storm Desmond. So I've developed the 5 C's. The 5 C's has care, which is a stress-free wellness creator. And it brings in a realization. You need to be aware of where you and your business is right now. If you do not look after yourself, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Routine. Create a routine that ensures you have this element for you, your business, and your staff, that you create care all the time. And relaxation. There has to be time within your business, and with mental health being prevalent right now, you've got to make sure that this is cared for. And a reason. What is the reason you want to make sure that everybody's safe and well within your business? And it's not just a well-being with regard to COVID-19, but it's everything. It's how the shock of people are coming back to work, and maybe they're in a real issue right now because childcare has not been looked after. There are many schools staying closed. And what responsibility? Who is responsible? We're all responsible, and let's all work together to ensure we look after each other. The next of my 5 C's is cash flow. If you do not look after your cash, you won't be in business. We've seen hotels losing the chance to continue. Hotels who have actually gone under in the last few weeks. So cash is really important. You've got to know your cash flow forecast. You've got to know your numbers, your opportunities of what you can bring in increased revenue and what you can decrease in your expenditure at the moment. Get as much information as possible, because if you've got your financial accountant on furlough from your business and you haven't got the information, this is a time that you need to get the knowledge, get the information, and know your numbers to be able to know what your cash flow forecast is, to how long you'll be able to continue at the current situation. Numbers, and obviously survival. What is your break-even figures, and what do you have to do to be able to continue this through? So it is a whistle-stop tour. I'll just quickly go through the next C's, which is communication. Connection. You need to keep connected to your guests and your staff and your suppliers with what you're doing on a regular basis. Keep the conversation, the tonality, positive, motivational, inspiring, and that they would be looking to you to lead the way. Obviously, correspondence is important. We heard earlier, handwritten notes are really special. And just to say to your members of the team and your guests, we're thinking about you. We wish you were here. I hope all is well. And contact, keep in contact on a regular basis. Share how positive and what positive elements you're putting within your business, and how excited you are that you're going to become a new norm. And take control. Take control of the communication. Don't sit back and wait for everybody else to show the way. And then, of course, content, the positive information solution. And this is bringing the material. We heard earlier from Liz about making sure you've got the photographs. How amazing would it be to have your media channels with what elements of your business, the go-to business that's showcasing what your customer journey is going to be like, and have a media channel for your staff as well, showing a video footage of what they can be experiencing when they come back, so they feel safe and comfortable moving back into your business. And obviously being mindful. We do know there's a lot of people out there who are frightened, and they are still in the denial stage that this is all going on, the frustration, and there's a lot of worry, media footage that have frightened a lot of people. So we have to be incredibly mindful of that. A method, what method are you going to use to be able to attract your prospective clients or your clients who know and love you? And also the killer growth model, which basically goes through the knowledge, the intention, the leadership and legacy, and of course execute and review. Get all the knowledge you can and make sure that you are taking an intention every day to show your leadership, your legacy, execute and review. So when did you last look at your objectives, and are these smarter still given the current situation? So what change will you make to survive and thrive the COVID-19 lockdown with a full, steady stream of clients through your doors immediately? So in summary, I'd like you to have a purpose, potential, and a positive outlook. Because as Robert Kiyosaki has said, you'll never get there if you never start, and knowledge has only got value if you apply it. So I'm Alison Magee-Barker. Please follow me on my media channels. I am offering a 20-minute free strategy call. They are limited availability. Please contact me on alison@ajlix.com, and I will also share the COVID-19 Business Revival course with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alison. Alison's got so much knowledge and experience in the hospitality industry, so I'd encourage anybody in this industry to book one of those calls with her. That'd be absolutely great.
Thank you.
We've got one final presenter to go, and that is the amazing Joan Lind from the amazing trybooking.com. It's a UK-based, how would we describe you? Your online ticketing and booking platform? Is that the best way to describe you?
Yes, I was going to do a little intro, not to be confused with booking.com, of course.
No, and we use TryBooking within our business now. It's integrated on our website. It's absolutely superb, and she's a real UK player, growing quickly, and miles ahead of Eventbrite and everybody else that we've tried before. So I'm going to hand over to Joan now for the last few minutes of our webinar. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you. Now, can everybody see that?
We can see you. We can't see your screen yet.
Can you see me now? Oh, what's happened?
You click the green button at the bottom of the webinar.
Thinking you were doing it for me, that's why I got confused. Sorry, Paul. Right, everybody can see that now?
Perfect.
Perfect. So good morning, everybody. I will rattle through this in under 10 minutes, and Paul can hold me to that. So Paul's kind introduction, yes, not to be confused with booking.com. We are a broad online registration booking ticketing platform, as Paul mentioned, a sort of simple headline is the UK alternative to Eventbrite. And you may ask, well, why am I here today? Because normally what we're doing is working with all sorts of sectors, many of whom are your clients who are running events, and you're maybe their venue. But the reason I'm here today is because Lisa and I connected, because we've had a lot of clients prior to COVID use us for online bookings for food and deliveries, and that has increased quite a lot. So I wanted to share some of the insights from that, not just from us at TryBooking, but also from the clients that are using us. So this little presentation, which is very visual, is simply entitled, we know, I don't know who's on the call today, there's lots of hotels obviously, but I'm hoping there's some other hospitality or catering or food organisations, but we're all facing, as customers and as you guys in the hotel industry, fewer tables, but how do we also increase our covers? So normally what we are doing at TryBooking is helping venues or your clients with online bookings for events. Like this example here would be a fundraising ball for a charity that might be held at Daniel's Hotel, for example. And our clients set up a booking link and enable their guests to easily host tables and take ticket sales. And it makes it really easy for venues. So they just get a big spreadsheet with everybody who's coming and the dietary requirements, you know, where the nut allergies are, etc. Funnily enough, we're not doing a lot of this at the moment. We're doing a lot more virtual events. But one of the little sectors that has really grown for us is helping supplement people in the hospitality and catering industry with takeaway and delivery services. And we're quite surprised by how many people have come to us from delis to pubs to restaurants to ice cream parlours, all of which you're going to see examples of here. And this quote from one of our clients I think is really interesting, because there's other online platforms that are completely different to us that deliver this already, like Just Eat or Uber, but they are so expensive in the way that they charge. That this client of ours has said he's building his app, he's planning to integrate it with TryBooking, because our way of working is so different, because we get a tiny clip of any event ticket, or in his case, order. So how does this look like? So what they're doing is they're converting their menu, or part of their menu, whatever they wish to do, into TryBooking, setting it up exactly as they want, visualizing it as they want. So in this case, Denton's are showcasing the whole menu, and people can go and choose what they fancy for their lunch and what they fancy for pudding. And they're simply ordering and paying, and Denton Delis have got all the money immediately, plus they've got a full order. And because we're cloud-based, that data never disappears. So let's say Denton Deli's staff is rotating throughout all of this. They're not dealing with phone calls and written notes and emails. It's all in one really easy place for them to manage. Another lovely benefit, which this organisation down in Lancashire are using, it's Junction Inn, it's a pub down near St Helens, I believe, they can also set limits. So, you know, if you know your capacity in the kitchen and you know your rotation, your chef can only output X number of roast Sunday lunches, he can set that so he can't get too many orders. So here, he can only really facilitate, you can see he's set up every Sunday, he can do an hour ordering, but he can only take up to 20 orders at a time. So this countdown allows him to set as many or as little as he wants that his kitchen and his staff and his delivery mechanism, be it a scooter or a van or whatever he's doing, can cope with. So some of the benefits of using something like TryBooking is that you're able to control those orders 5 per hour, 10 per hour. You can control the time slots. So if you only want to deliver at 11 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, you set it up so everybody knows that's when they're going to be delivered. It takes all of that admin that's maybe currently been managed by telephone and emails and all sorts. It takes all that admin off you. You don't overload your staff. Your clients have booked and paid. They get immediate confirmation, so they know what they're getting. There's no cash handling. One of the big things we've seen in COVID is we're tapping everywhere. And this also eradicates that. There's no cash at tills. There's no cash to drivers. It's all paid up front. And you can set delivery perimeters and make it really clear about how close or how far you can or would like to deliver to. And of course, you can change menus as frequently as you want. So Denton's Deli, the example I showed you, put up a new booking link every week because they changed the menu. Whereas the Junction Inn has the same Sunday roast options week in, week out. So he just has one booking link where he changes the time slots. We talked about breakfasts earlier on. And I feel so sad that breakfasts are going to change in hotels. It's one of the things I love. I travel so much. We're a national platform. So I'm really going to be interested to see how that plays out. It's my favourite meal of the day. And here's a little cafe. She's just a little, what I'd have called in London, a greasy spoon cafe. And she's moved to online. And she only does it on a Saturday. And she only wants to deliver 5 every hour. But TryBooking's really helped her to do that. And all these examples I've showed have been taking upwards of £500 a day in additional revenue. And that's just from the smallest things like this cafe all the way up. And another lovely one is an ice cream parlour, you know, where they could do all sorts of really sexy things, like order single tubs or 3 tubs. Then you could choose 3 different flavours with our data collection. So there's all sorts of creativity and flexibility you can have on maybe how to increase the covers with having to limit the number of tables you have within your venue. Now, Alison's mentioned this, and I think Daniel did, and Liz certainly did with her photography, the importance of social media. So I just went to 2 of the examples I've shown you. I went to their Facebook pages this week, and there's these lovely reviews that have been put up there. You know, I had the chicken Sunday lunch delivered to us last Sunday. It was gorgeous, very generous helpings, and we loved the rich gravy. You know, and down for dinner, we ordered 3 large Sunday dinners for today. The delivery was within the time we expected. So lots of really positive conversations, not just about the food, but about it was delivered hot and it was delivered when they were expected. So again, this is now trickling through to their Facebook so easily. So what I'm able to offer you today is I can put up in the chat the links so you can see it and feel it. But more importantly, if you think this would interest you or partners that you work with or friends and colleagues that may be running different types of food outlets, we can do any number of free demos specifically for their needs. And you just can contact me at joan@trybooking.co.uk. And there's our number. We're actually based up in Cumbria, but we're a national platform. We're in the Lake District. And please do follow us on our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can see examples of all our clients there too.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joan. A real UK competitor to Eventbrite. As I said, we've already integrated TryBooking into our booking platform, and so easy to use. The feedback and the service we get from Joan and her team is second to none. And very easy to get set up and very easy to get going on there. So I'd encourage everybody who's looking for any of that to contact Joan and have a free session. I'm just going to put very quickly a link to our feedback form into the chat box. You should all have that now. If you could all click on that before you leave the webinar. It's got some feedback for us, and also it gives you the opportunity to check a box to any of the presenters that you want to speak to again afterwards. We've had some great offers from everybody on the call today. If anybody's got any questions, if you want to fire them in quickly, we have run over. So unless there's any questions in the next 30 seconds or so, we're gonna call an end to the webinar. I just want to say thank you to Lisa for organising this and putting the time and effort into promoting it over social media to help everybody in the hospitality and catering industry. It's so important that we all show as much abundance as we can to our clients and prospects right now. They need us more than ever right now, and I'm very grateful to everybody who's come on the call today, given the time up, and made such fantastic offers, which I'd encourage everybody to take up. Thank you very much to all the presenters. You're all muted, so you can't say anything back to me. And thank you to everybody who's joined us today. We hope you've got some great points out of it. I can't see any questions in the question box, so I'm going to say have a brilliant day to everybody, and we look forward to getting your feedback forms. Please click on that link and fill in the feedback form. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.